British citizens who are autonomo and registering for a TIE card for the first time, registering as resident for the first time within the withdrawal agreement. Things changed slightly last month, and I wanted to give you an update on that. Now, I'm talking specifically at the moment about Malaga. I'm afraid I can't comment about other provinces because we've only got the experience at the moment with this in Malaga. Though I have seen from Alicante that Alicante have started requesting the same thing. I don't know if they requested it before or not. Okay, so what am I talking about? Well, people who are autonomo who have recently registered as autonomo, up till the end of September, we were getting favourable resolutions, i.e. acceptance for residency and TIE card, by submitting just 3 simple documents, by submitting the fact that they'd registered as autonomo with Social Security, the Hacienda registration 0037 or 36, and the certificate to prove they have access to healthcare in Spain. Okay, evidently with that and their padron, which proves where they live, we were getting successful resolutions back. That changed at the end of October. Well, the beginning of November was when we've got our first requirement letter back for an application we'd made at the beginning of October. So we'd made the applications as we have done up till now and been very successful, but they decided they want to see more documentation. I mean, I suppose it makes sense that what they're trying to do is towards the end of the withdrawal agreement, they're proving that they're trying to prove that people aren't just turning up, registering as autonomo and using that as a gateway to get residency if they haven't got a real business. So what they're trying to prove is that your business is real. Okay, so first of all, I want to just run you through an article we wrote about the requirements, about what they have asked for, and then I want to tell you what we've had success with. Okay, because we had a few successful ones back this week. So anyway, what they asked for is documents which accredit the effective professional activity that's taking place in Spain, basically. All right. What they break it down into, and I'm going to break it down anyway, but they break it down into tax declarations, which a lot of people won't have because they haven't been registered that long. Memoria explicativa. It's just like a business plan, really. Memoria tends to be shorter than a business plan, though. It's just like an explanation of what you're going to be doing, how you're going to be doing it. If you've got any authorizations, administrative authorizations, or blah, blah, blah. So anyway, so let's run through step by step what they've been asking for. Okay, so as we explained, they're looking for documentation which accredits the effective exercise of the professional activity which you've registered in Spain to do. All right, so it's an overview. That's an overview of what they're asking for. Amongst other documentation you will need to present, well, we assume that when they say amongst other documentation, they mean that if you've got anything else to add, aside from what they've stipulated here, then please add it to the application. So they start off by asking for the quarterly declarations of personal income tax, which is model 130131. If you haven't been registered for more than a quarter, you won't have this. Then they go on to ask for a quarterly VAT return, a model 301. Model 301 doesn't exist. I think it's a 303. I did email them and sent them the link to the tax office's website, but yeah, maybe we'll ask your accountant about that. If you have done a quarterly return, it's not a model 301. No. Anyway, facturas, invoices. If you've got any invoices done, the great thing with the invoices is that hopefully you can tally up your invoices with income into an account. So if you haven't got one of the first 2 models, a quarterly tax return or quarterly VAT return, then if you have done invoices and they come through an account, brilliant, because you can say invoice A1 income into that account. It's very advisable to speak to your accountant on how you have to position your invoices, because I know that I'm not an accountant, so I know how my invoices have to work. But there's some industries that don't have VAT. There's some industries that have different levels of VAT. There's all sorts. So it's very important that your invoice is correct, and hopefully it tallies up with some form of income through an electronic means, like an account or an online card portal payment or something like that. Okay, because that comes to what I'm going to say next about what we've submitted and what's been successful. And that is one of the things that we've submitted, which is a bank account proving income from invoices that we've declared. So definitely that's a good one. Explanatory report the activity carried out, which is a direct translation of memoria explicativa. Well, yeah, this is like a business plan. Okay, so, but I don't think it needs to be 400 pages, you know, and go too deep into your global reach, your industry or anything like that. I think what reading between the lines, and after speaking twice to the subdelegation of Malaga this week, they're under a huge amount of pressure. Massive. There's been a few mistakes that we've had to get rectified, because they're just rushing through as many as they can. So if you throw a 20-page business plan at them, they're probably going to go, oh, no, we're not reading that. Don't forget it's got to be in Spanish. My advice would be to keep it short, sharp, and to the point, and then provide supporting documentation to the plan. So if you're saying, I am going to fund my business in Spain with savings from the UK and 10 grand, for example, well, prove it. And then see Annex 1 attached to this. There's 10 grand in a savings account. Boom. There you go. Or I have a contract with a company which provides me students for online lessons. Well, there you go. See Annex 1, contract. Bang. There you go. And his contract would need to be translated if it's not in Spanish, though. Don't forget that. Okay. So that's basically what they ask for. All right, what they want to see. And they finish it off with ... which we've sort of tried to interpret. So what I would say is there's other documentation that you can add to that to back up your the proof that your business is real. Okay. So if you've got, and we wrote this with, I consulted with our accountant, and also I spoke to the subdelegation in Malaga, and I said, look, there's a lot of people who are in this position where they haven't got quarterly returns and very few facturas. What can we do? And I asked them a few questions, and they said, yeah, anything that substantiates the fact that they're running a real business helps. So we've got a list here. So purchases relating to your activity and expenses. Evidently, if you're running an activity, you're going to have expenses, you're going to have facturas, not facturas that you've issued, facturas in your name, which you will eventually be declaring against your income as an expense. Rentals relating to your activity. If you've got any rentals. So do you rent a property? Do you rent equipment? Do you rent anything like that? Remember, the documentation has got to be always in Spanish. It's always got to be legal. You can't just knock something up on Word. But yeah, any rentals that you've got that pertain to your activity, relate to your activity, then that's good. Appointments, if you only set appointments. If you can prove that you've had set appointments with clients in set places, or appointments where you've had to attend because of your activity, maybe you're going for a loan from the bank, or maybe you're had to go to the town hall for something. We had one recently where someone was applying for a grant and they had proof of that. Paper trail, if you have clients booked in for appointments, I've already sort of gone through that, I think. Professional qualifications that relate to your activity. Yeah, brilliant. If you've got a professional qualification that relates to your activity, add it to the file, because, you know, if you're setting up as a foot masseuse and you've got a professional foot masseuse qualification, then that proves that you can do what you're doing, doesn't it, I suppose? So anything, you know, if you're an accountant or anything that, if you have got that, then brilliant. Contracts with providers, suppliers, or new clients. Right, yeah, so contracts. If you've got contracts with people to supply your equipment, to expand on this, we had some success with somebody who had contract to go and practice their activity in another place. Okay, and that person had a contract with that person to come X amount of times a week, and that was accepted. It was proved because they evidently checked out the other business, because the other business was a registered SL. All right, so for example, you might be self-employed and you might be servicing that person's clients. If that person's got a registered SL and they write a letter or a contract, we say, an agreement between you and the government can jump online, they can see registered SLs, then that's brilliant, you know. So that seems to have worked. If you've got proof that your activity is something you're, through say, exporting from one place to another, so you decided to come to live in Spain, you're working as self-employed in this activity in the UK, you're now coming over here, you've registered as self-employed and you're going to continue over here. If you've got proof of that, that's great as well. So they're all ideas of, these are really for people who haven't got the 3 months under their belt, who haven't done the quarterly return, which they're initially looking for, of ways of proving that your business is real and the way to present it. Where we've had a couple back where we've had success. So far, they've asked us for this, more proof, and both cases didn't have, well, one case had a quarterly return, but we were able to prove the income through invoices, and that tallied up with income through an account. Also backed up with a business plan and a couple of contracts with people where that activity was going to take place, and that was accepted. Okay, we had another one who is somebody who's basically exporting their activity to Spain. So they were self-employed in the UK and they teach online. They've got proof of that. And then they come to Spain, they're registered as self-employed. Initially, the government didn't accept the application because they said we need more proof of what he does. So we submitted a couple of facturas that had already been charged. The accountant, actually, his accountant didn't write a business plan, but he wrote a letter which explained exactly what he does, which relates to this thing called an epigraphy. The fact that he doesn't actually have to charge VAT on his invoices, which for his activity he doesn't. The fact that the invoices he's got had been lodged somewhere within an accounting system, and basically that he just exported his business from one place to the next, and there's the proof, and that was accepted. So yeah, I think what we need to look at is that basically they've changed here in Malaga anyway. They've changed their tack to tightening the noose slightly, and just making sure that people who are coming over to register as residents aren't just going autonomo and hoping that will get them the residency card and worry about it later on, that they are actually bona fide and real businesses. So anyway, I hope that helps for all yous who are registering as autonomo and want to get residency. And yeah, we're going to do a couple more videos on other stringent requirements that we've had from Malaga.